Recorded Books and One Click Digital present Her Little Majesty, The Life of Queen Victoria by Carolee Erickson. Narrated by Nelson Runger.
Chapter 1. The king, seated in his elegant painted phaeton, the reins of his fine team of matched horses held in his pudgy, beringed hands, looked out over the gardens of Windsor Great Park and was content. The sun was sparkling on the blue waters of the lake, the mingled scents of roses and honeysuckle and wisteria filled the air, and in the distance the royal band was playing a lilting operatic air. All was in readiness for the afternoon's entertainment. A royal fishing party, with many of the king's relatives, his courtiers, his circle of friends and admirers in attendance. The year was 1826, and George IV, in his 64th year, was rapidly aging. He was weak in the knees, his eyesight was going. He had to take laudanum, which made him bilious, to ease the severe pain of a bladder complaint, and a lifetime of gorging himself on rich French food and potent liqueurs had made him so hugely fat that it took his dressers hours to stuff him into his corsets and sew him into his plum-colored silk jackets and enormously wide white pantaloons. His sallow, bulging cheeks had to be smeared with rouge, his full lips artificially reddened, and his sparse gray hair covered with a dark wig to disguise his senescence. And even then court gossips whispered to one another about his obvious decline. Before long, they said, he would suffer the fate of his father, George III, who had taken complete leave of his senses and died a feeble lunatic, his mind ravaged by delusions. That he might indeed go mad was a thought never far from King George's mind, even on the sunniest of days, devoted as most of his days were to pleasure. And any reminder of his increasing incapacity, either mental or physical, filled him with dread. For he would one day die, and then his throne, his wealth, and all that he had spent a lifetime accumulating would pass not to a child of his own body, but to his greedy, ungrateful, unworthy brothers. To Frederick, his oldest brother, handsome but stupid, and quite possibly, since Frederick had no children, to his second brother William, farcical and grotesque, the family joke and disgrace. And then, as William was elderly and childless, to the king's little niece, Alexandrina Victoria. King George had had his eye on his young niece for some time. She was the only child of his late brother Edward, Duke of Kent, an odious man, the king thought, debt-ridden, brutish, a boor in society, a bully in the family. Edward was no loss, but his child, now 7 years old and living with her mother in a set of shabby apartments in Kensington Palace, was worthy of her royal uncle's attention. For one thing, she was unique, the only living legitimate grandchild of George III. There had been others, most notably King George IV's daughter Charlotte, but they had all died young. If the king and his siblings continued to be childless, Alexandrina Victoria would one day be queen. For another thing, George's advisers and spies assured him that she was a sturdy, healthy child, with good, strong Hanoverian blood, and that the vicious rumors about her, rumors that spoke of ill health, weak limbs, and diseased feet, were unfounded. Then there was the possibility that the king might outlive both Frederick and William, and that the crown might pass directly to the young princess on George's death. In that event, the king thought, he would like to have the chance to mold his successor himself. He had been thinking of bringing Alexandrina Victoria to live with him, so that he could begin to shape her tastes and design her education. His prime minister, the Duke of Wellington, had advised against it,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?